You are sitting on your bed late at night, staring at a long, carefully drafted paragraph on your phone screen. Your chest is tight, your breathing is shallow, and your fingers are slightly trembling. You are trying to explain to someone, for the 10th time, how their actions are hurting them, how they can heal, and how much potential they have if they would only just try. You have spent your evening researching therapies for them, listening to their endless crises, or carrying their financial or emotional weight. You are completely exhausted, depleted to your absolute limit. Yet, the thought of stepping back, of leaving them to face their own consequences, triggers an immediate, visceral wave of panic in your gut. A quiet voice inside whispers, "If I don't save them, who will? And if I stop fixing them, will they still have any reason to stay with me?" If this is familiar, if you recognize the agonizing physical burden of being the designated savior, therapist, and manager of your relationships, what you are facing is not a simple habit of having bad taste in partners. It is a profound somatic survival loop. According to the psychological philosophy and trauma-informed clinical work of Dr. Gabor Maté, we do not choose people who need to be fixed by accident. We choose them because our nervous system has wired their chaos to our survival. We are unconsciously using their struggle as a laboratory to try to resolve our own childhood pain. And until you understand what this pattern is actually trying to heal, you will continue to exhaust yourself playing the savior, while your own authentic life remains completely unlived. This is not a video accusing you of codependency or blaming you for your choices. This is an exploration of the hidden biology of the rescuer, designed to show you how your choice of partners is actually an intelligent, historical strategy of self-preservation, and how to finally break the cycle. For generations, society has looked at those who chronically choose broken, unavailable, or struggling partners and labeled them as helpers, nurturers, or enablers. We treat this pattern as a relationship mistake, telling people they just need to set better boundaries, raise their standards, or read the red flags earlier. But from a trauma-informed perspective, Dr. Gabor Maté's work shows that our relationship choices are never random. Our adult attachments are the somatic blueprints of our childhood environments. As infants and children, we have two non-negotiable biological needs: attachment and authenticity. Attachment is our connection to our caregivers. It is our literal physical survival. Authenticity is selfhood. It is our ability to feel our feelings, know our boundaries, and trust our gut. When these two needs conflict, when being our true self threatens our connection to the adults who keep us alive, attachment must always win. If you grew up in a home where a caregiver was depressed, addicted, emotionally fragile, or volatile, your natural child needs were an inconvenience. If you cried, you overwhelmed them. If you had boundaries, you angered them. So, your young nervous system made a brilliant, protective decision. It chose to suppress your authenticity to secure your connection. You realized that to stay connected to an unstable caregiver, you had to become their caretaker. You had to soothe their anxiety, quiet your own demands, read their micro-expressions, and become the low-maintenance, useful child who kept the family peace. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. You learn to equate love with usefulness. You wired your nervous system to believe that you are only safe and worthy of connection when you are managing someone else's pain. As an adult, when you meet someone who is stable, consistent, and emotionally available, your nervous system does not feel attracted to them. It feels bored, anxious, or suspicious, but when you meet someone who is struggling, chaotic, or emotionally unavailable, your system lights up. It feels a sudden, intense spark that you mistake for soulmate-level chemistry. In reality, your body has recognized an old childhood home. It has found an environment where it can play the familiar, highly practiced role of the fixer, hoping that this time, if you can just save the partner, you can finally heal the original wound of not being enough for your parents. Let us explore three profound patterns that explain why we choose people who need to be fixed. And the third pattern is the deepest, most quiet loop of all. But before we reveal the first pattern, there is an anticipation you must hold. We often think we are trying to change our partner, but more often we are trying to change our biological history. The first pattern is the development of the emotional alchemist. You find yourself constantly drawn to people who are emotionally shut down, highly defensive, or struggling with unresolved trauma. On paper, they are cold, distant, or erratic, but instead of walking away, you become obsessed with their potential. You act as their unpaid therapist, trying to decode their childhood, explain their behavior to them, and guide them toward healing. You believe that if you can offer them enough unconditional love, patience, and understanding, you can melt their cold exterior and turn their pain into gold. According to Dr. Gabor Maté, this is the classic reenactment of the emotionally unattuned childhood. If you grew up with a parent who was emotionally distant, critical, or depressed, your young child self could not process the terrifying reality that your caregiver was incapable of meeting your emotional needs. To preserve your sanity, your mind made a desperate, unconscious calculation. My parent is not emotionally unavailable. They are just hurt. And if I am good enough, helpful enough, and perfect enough, I can heal them, and then they will love me. As an adult, you are still running that childhood script with your partners. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means your mind learned to protect you. That obsessive urge to heal your distant partner, that is not romance. That is not weakness. That is intelligence in service of survival, trying to master an old childhood pain by repeating it in the present, hoping that this time you can force the emotionally unavailable figure to finally see you, validate you, and love you. You are not actually in love with the person in front of you. You're in love with the fantasy of your own healing, using their emotional unavailability as a stage to prove your own worthiness. And this leads directly to the second pattern, which explains why we are willing to carry the physical and financial weight of another adult's life. The second pattern is the somatic life support loop. You choose partners who are chronically struggling to manage the basic requirements of being an adult. They cannot keep a job. They are in constant financial crisis. They struggle with active addictions, or they live in a state of perpetual chaos. You step in to carry them. You pay their bills, clean up their messes, cover for their mistakes, and organize their schedule. You complain constantly about how exhausted and overwhelmed you are, but the moment they take a step toward independence, you feel a sudden quiet wave of anxiety or insecurity. From a trauma-informed perspective, this pattern is the adult manifestation of the conditional child. If you grew up in an environment where you had to be highly useful to earn praise, attention, or a basic sense of belonging, where you were the helper, the emotional caretaker, or the family savior, your nervous system wired your survival to their helplessness. You learned that you are only safe, valued, and irreplaceable when the people around you are too weak to survive without you. As an adult, your partner's chronic struggle is your biological insurance policy. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. You unconsciously choose partners who need to be fixed because their helplessness ensures that they can never leave you. As long as they are drowning, they need you to be their life support. The moment they heal, stand on their own 2 feet, and no longer need you to survive, your amygdala screams with the ancient panic of childhood neglect. They don't need me anymore. Which means they're going to realize I am worthless and abandon me. Not because something was wrong with you, because something was wrong with what happened to you. And your body learned that care is never safe or unconditional unless you are completely indispensable to the other person's survival. You are sacrificing your own energy, your own finances, and your own peace to buy a cheap temporary guarantee of attachment, unable to trust that you could ever be loved simply for who you are rather than for what you can do. But the next pattern is the one that runs the deepest of all. It is the pattern most people refuse to see in themselves because we have been trained to treat our own self-abandonment as a moral virtue. Before we reveal this final pattern, consider this. The most difficult part of healing is realizing that the very person you are trying to save is the one who is protecting you from having to look at your own pain. The third pattern, the deepest one, is the savior as a shield. Your obsession with fixing your partner is the ultimate, most sophisticated defense mechanism of your ego. By focusing 100% of your energy, time, and attention on your partner's addiction, their depression, their trauma, or their career crises, you ensure that you never have to look at your own. You are so busy managing their chaos, organizing their therapy, and putting out their fires that you have a perfect, bulletproof excuse to ignore the hollow emptiness, the deep loneliness, and the unexpressed grief that is waiting inside your own chest. According to Dr. Gabor Maté, when a child's emotional pain is too overwhelming to tolerate and they have no safe adult to help them process it, the brain's ultimate defense is to disconnect. You learn to focus entirely outward to survive. Now, as an adult, your partner is your externalized distraction. Whenever you feel a sudden wave of your own existential dread, your own sense of unworthiness, or your own physical exhaustion, your system does not drop into the body to feel it. Instead, it projects that discomfort onto your partner. You look at their life and think, look at how messed up they are. Look at how much they need my help. You channel your anxiety into a frantic effort to fix them, because fixing them feels possible, while facing the raw, terrifying grief of your own childhood feels like an existential death sentence. Your partner's chaos is the bodyguard that protects you from your own self-confrontation. That is not weakness. That is intelligence in service of survival. You are using their wounds as an anesthetic to numb your own, choosing the exhausting but familiar pain of being a savior over the disorienting, terrifying vulnerability of looking at your own empty cup. You are not broken. You adapted. You survived environments that required you to be the adult before you were even allowed to be a child. You bent yourself into shapes, became the family emotional manager, and went numb to your own needs just to stay connected to the people you loved. Your people-pleasing, your attraction to unavailable partners, and your exhausting savior complex are not proofs of your inadequacy. They are the living, breathing monuments to your resilience. But you do not have to live on the battlefield anymore. According to Dr. Maté, breaking this loop does not begin with trying to force your partner to change or aggressively cutting everyone out of your life. It begins with a compassionate return to yourself. It begins with shifting from, how do I fix them, to, what is this urge trying to protect me from? The single most powerful somatic practice you can do to break this cycle is to practice the somatic turnaround. The next time you feel the urgent, vibrating pull to save your partner, the next time you want to send the long paragraphs, pay their bills, fix their emotional mood, or offer unsolicited advice, stop. Do not pick up your phone. Do not speak. Instead, drop your attention from your thoughts down into your physical body. Locate the physical sensation of the urge to fix. Feel the physical tightness in your throat, the knot in your stomach, or the frantic warmth in your chest. Place a hand over that space. Take a slow, gentle breath into that physical tightness, and speak to your own body with the unconditional tenderness of a parent holding a frightened child. Say to your own physical sensation, I feel how anxious we are right now. I feel how much we want to save them to feel safe ourselves. It is okay that you are running this program, but we are safe now, and it is not our job to carry their weight. When you turn your attention inward and welcome your own discomfort instead of trying to fix their life, you are doing something revolutionary. You are providing your nervous system with the biological co-regulation it was denied in childhood. You are showing your body that you are finally strong enough, mature enough, and safe enough to hold your own vulnerability. You are teaching your brain that you do not have to be useful to be worthy of existing. And in the presence of that safety, the biological need to play the savior naturally begins to fade. You stop trying to turn lead into gold in others and start letting your own life align with the natural, beautiful truth of who you already are. This is slow, quiet, and deeply patient work. It will not change your biology overnight. You will still have days where you reach for the savior mask. You will still have moments where the chaotic spark feels like home. But with every small choice to stay with your physical body instead of running to their rescue, with every moment you choose your own authentic presence over a cheap, self-abandoning connection, with every slow breath of compassion you offer to your own hurting heart, you are rewiring your brain. You are showing your cells, your heart, and your breath that the storm has passed, the war is over, and you are finally safe enough to come home to yourself. The same body that learned how to carry the weight of others to survive is fully capable of learning how to rest in the quiet sunshine of its own authentic presence. You do not have to save anyone else to earn your place in this world. You just have to let your own life come back to life. Which of these three patterns felt the most familiar to you in your relationships? If conversations like this feel valuable, consider subscribing. There is nothing more transformative than understanding the story your body has been telling all along. Self-understanding will not rewrite your past, but it can change the way your past lives inside you. And that changes everything. The hardest part of recovering from the savior complex isn't letting go of the person who needs to be fixed. It's forgiving yourself for how long you've had to buy love with your own depletion. If this spoke to you, which of these three patterns are you currently carrying? And what is one small way you can offer your body permission to stay with its own quiet, empty space tonight? The Fixer Trauma Loop. Why you choose chasing love. The Savior Complex. Roots.